Hello all. How are you? I hope well. So today we have a safety training. See, got my Vistability hoodie on, even though it's a little warm outside, but anything for the team. Um, so we're gonna go over the safety orientation checklist. So this is important that we go over every year, especially because we are getting closer. I mean, it seems we get closer and then things get held back just a little bit. But that we go over um, the, um, well, basically the annual safety overview, which is just certain things that we need to check off to know that you know what you need to do, who you need to go to for each of these things, and then also what your responsibilities are as well. So so we'll get started. I have it here on my this computer. So I apologize for my runny nose. You know, allergy season and other things. But so since we're all going over this together, I will just check off that each of you have actually gone over this at some point, either with your family or with yourself. So please, this is one of those important ones that you get back to me and say, "Hey, DJ, yeah, I did take the safety training." So first, the importance of safety awareness at all times. So this includes no running, hitting, roughhousing, being aware of surroundings to prevent slips and falls and other things such as that. So that is something that definitely that's on you. I know that when we get around our friends, we tend to, try to have more fun sometimes than we should. It's fine to have fun, um, as long as it actually results in fun. But sometimes when we start, especially roughhousing, start running around, when it comes to the vans and things like that, and then, you kind of fall down, somebody else falls down. So far, knock on wood, nobody's been hit by another van or anything like that, but, people do run to the vans to pick. We haven't done that for a while. Now we choose our own activities a little bit differently because we're in our pods, as they call them. But we want to make sure that we're aware of our safety awareness of all time. We want to be aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it. Number 2 is a person in charge in the event of an emergency. Well, for each place where we are, that's different. For us and for y'all, it would be the staff member that you're with if it's an emergency, especially if you're out in the community. You want to make sure that you're following up with your staff. Because, anytime that you might second guess, like, nobody like, I can take care of this, I'm not going to let the staff know. Then it comes out later that it didn't happen correctly and it actually made the situation worse. We all want to make sure we avoid those situations. That's why we have supervisors and so on and so forth. So the person in charge in the event of an emergency is always your staff member. And vehicle safety. Well, first off, make sure you keep your hands and your feet to yourself while you're in the van, making sure you're buckled up at all times. Again, making sure that a couple of times what you want to make sure of is to make sure that when we're opening and shutting the doors of the van, that everybody's already inside and their hands aren't in the door or they're not standing in the doorway. It's happened before that people have been hurt that way. So, and then, helping with vehicle checks, if that's something you'd like to do, but, it's always helpful for the staff member to make sure that the vehicle itself is running properly. Fire drill procedure. So we all know what to do. There's signs on every wall. You do want to make sure that you're staying with your staff member. Again, for us, it's different because we're typically out in the community. So you'll want to, again, review or go to your staff member or make sure that this is why we stay with group. So that, because usually at least what I look for anytime I go anywhere is where are all the exits located. So if we had to leave in a hurry, we'd know exactly where to go. Earthquake drill procedure. Well, we've gone over that. It's drop, tuck, make sure you're holding the back of your neck, things like that. And even if we're in the van, that's the same thing. You just want to keep your head down and be safe. So, we've gone over that quite a bit. But if there are any questions about it ever, please let us know. Bomb threat procedure. So that would be if we were actually on site. Hopefully nobody would call in, or I would get a phone call from some random person, or any of you would while we're in the van. But again, this is something you'd go back to your staff member for. But if ever, for some reason, you're in that situation, there are procedures right by every single phone as to what to do. But again, you would probably just make sure that, let's say, is this a joke? Hold on, let me get somebody, and then hand the phone off, but also mysterious packages, things like that, objects that might be left around that you're not sure of anywhere in the community. You want to make sure that you're alerting the proper authority. Sorry. Especially if it looks strange, if it's a hot item. And we've gone over evacuation routes, so that is something that, if you ever want to know, they're posted in every single place that we're at. If you ever want to take a tour, let me know, and I'll go around and show you. Utility failure procedures, that's just when, like, if everything shut down, again, you would go to your staff member and talk to them about that. If, say, you're somewhere and all the power goes out, well, that is something that you could definitely come and talk to your staff member about and say, hey, this happened. I'm pretty sure we should let somebody know, but you should let your staff member know first, instead of just, don't. Stay calm is always the first thing, and then we'll figure it out from there. Shelter in place procedure. So that's if, they have the alarm that goes off every month. Say it didn't go off during the regular testing time during the month. Well, we would shelter in place. And like I said, typically we're out in the community, so it doesn't apply to us as much. But if we did have to shelter in place, say when it came to the van or things like that, of course we'd be contacting families, things like that. But let your staff know, like if you hear that alarm or anything like that. Violent incident procedure, so that's something like a shooter on site or somebody that comes on site with a weapon. Again, we're not usually there, but if we have to lock down, that would mean we don't go anywhere. And there's a difference between shelter in place. Shelter in place, sometimes we just don't go back on site, things like that. We'll be like, okay, let's wait till we find out what's going on. If we lock down, well, then that's when we actually have to wait for authorities to let us go. Missing person procedure. Well, we know what that one is. You want to make sure, like, if somebody did go missing from the group, we would want to call them. So if you had their phone number, you'd want to call them. Of course, you would always let your staff member know. Please. And then we wouldn't want to leave the place where the person went missing, because usually the person's still there. and we would check everywhere. Then we would alert, and the staff member would know who to alert, which people to alert, and when to alert them. Um, so emergency lights. So if you're in the program and you see some lights going off, it's a fire light, things like that. Well, we'll go back to fire drill procedure. You'd want to alert the staff. But honestly, if you were by yourself and that ever happened, you'd want to take the proper evacuation route from wherever you are. Now, the location of the safety bulletin board, well, that's in the front office, in the very back room where the microwave is. Um, not in the conference room, but in the very back office where that is. You look at that, and that's where everything that you need to know is. So infectious disease control, preventing the spread of germs. Well, especially during COVID, we're going to be wearing masks. We're going to distance, especially. I mean, since most of us have been, I think pretty much everybody at this point has been vaccinated and boosted. We can still be in the same place, but when we're out in the community, we definitely want to be wearing masks and trying to socially distance as much as we possibly can. I mean, obviously, if you're buying something and you need to be closer than that to buy it, with a with a cashier, you don't. There's a lot of times there's kind of a blockade anyway, and they should be wearing masks. Anybody working anywhere should be wearing a mask. But also washing your hands, just basic hygiene, making sure you're taking care of yourself. And this way we kind of, and if you're sick, you stay home. Very important for everyone. Review of first aid. We go over this every time we open up most of the times we open up the kit and we kind of go through everything. And we should do that more even. Just how to use different things. If you ever have any questions, please always ask me. There's also facility safety rules and safety signs. So there's like if you see a sign that says, be careful, it's wet, you want to follow that sign. Also, the evacuation route signs, you want to make sure you follow those. There are certain things that will tell you whether or not you should be touching them because it could be an electrical hazard. So you want to keep, track of that. But, I mean, if you see it, and there's a sign on it, it's best to not touch it. Unless somebody's asked you to, leave it alone. And that's the same for everybody. Also reporting injury and illnesses. If you're ever sick, please let us know. If it's a serious illness, definitely let us know so that we can figure out the best way to help you and your family. If you get hurt at all, please let us know. Like, even if you slip and fall, if you think it's your own fault, the thing is that you never know. You might have hurt yourself worse than you know, and then we can make sure we get you to the proper medical facility for that. There's the safety committee. We haven't had that in quite a while because we haven't been able to be on site. But when we're there, remember that is a place for us to go over safety rules. It's also a place for us to discuss, for everybody to be able to talk about what their concerns are. And sometimes you don't feel that comfortable one-on-one, but some people really do feel more comfortable when it's in a larger group. So that is your chance to shine there. Yeah, I don't think we use a forklift, so we don't have to worry about that. And yeah, so 2 of them don't really apply to us. So, with all this being said, please let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I will try to find kind of a quiz on the importance of this for you to take, because it really is important for us to understand these things, but also to understand why they're important. It's really for everyone's safety, And until somebody's in an accident or until somebody gets hurt, unfortunately, people sometimes forget. I mean, everybody does, but we want to make sure that we're remembering so that we can, do the right thing when the right time happens. So this has been the review. Again, please ask me any questions that you have about this, and we will have coming up, that's a lot of the other things that y'all, have asked for, and thank you so much for that. That's very nice of you. I will get to those as soon as I can, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Try to stay cool out there. Make sure you're drinking water. Hydrate yourselves because it is hot. It is very hot. And we're in the Bay Area, which is much cooler here than it is other places. Believe me, I know. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.